Hi. So, as usual, I don't. I intended to make more videos while I was on vacation. I had a whole travel vlog idea and everything, but I'm clearly not a vlogger. Um, and that's just not happening yet. It's not in my spirit to vlog, even though I am a big like journaler and I think it's great to travel vlog because there's a lot of stuff I want to remember. There's a lot of little nuances like the one smoothie shop I went to and had a great smoothie one time, or a great hike that I did, or just like cool people you meet. But I'm back from a month in the Coachella Valley. I mean, I would just say Palm Springs, but like I was all over the valley. Even did like a night or two up in Joshua Tree, and I went. I attempted to go to Disneyland, but that did not work out. Um, I still might go. I don't know what it is about me in Disneyland, Disney World. I've never been um, well, that's not true because by like some twist of a itinerary, I ended up in Euro Disney when I was 15, and that was enough for me. I don't know. I love Disney products and all those things, and there's a lot of Disney things that touch my heart, but it's not been something I've been like aching to spend my money on. Um, so I don't know where to put this camera, so I feel like I've got a good shot. I know it's all still too close, and like I don't know. I have oil on my hands. I'm like, what's up, y'all? Um, but so as usual, something has finally like prompted me to get on camera and talk about something, and just because usually the inciting incident is something that it's like if I were to tweet something, it would be like 5 million tweets. If I were to like comment on a video, it would be like some poor reaction video person getting like all of my energy. And so when I'm kind of like stuck with a bunch of thoughts, this is my way of journaling those thoughts. It's just to make one rant video and upload it. And that's just how I sort of get down. So I barely even want to mention his name because it's so annoying at this point to keep going in this circle about black men in the media and homophobia and transphobia, right? But of course, Dave Chappelle releases his final special in his Netflix deal, The Closer, that I had no idea was coming, and I was actually excited to see. I'm a Washingtonian. I have several friends and relatives who went to his alma mater, Duke Ellington. He is a point of pride for me as a Washingtonian. His last special, where he brought up the transphobic issue, um, I agreed with him. I did. I do think this sort of idea that, picking fun of trans and the gay community and the queer community is a little infantilizing. I think, I feel like that's what his message was, like, especially talking about his conversation with a trans comedian individual who, rest in peace, took their own life. Daphne Gorman, I believe their last name, was, I just felt like in that special there was a very good connection being made between like the space of like let's be human with each other, let's take the piss, let's be somewhat, let's be in camaraderie with each other, that we're all kind of like under the top 1%, and we need to have a little bit more grace and civility and humor. Like it's got to be, we've got to be able to laugh at some things. And if it comes up that these things are involving, queer or trans individuals, there is some humor there, and there is a world where we intersect as people, who are, in the binary, and people who are in the non-binary, or people who are cis and people who are trans. There's an intersection there, and there's humor there, um, and it's human. So that's the point I thought he was giving in the first one. This time around, before I could even see the special, the shit was hitting the fan that he had sort of doubled down, tripled down on his transphobic comments, and that also he had invoked the baby, and that he had invoked Daphne, and that there was a conversation about J.K. Rowling and her TErFness, and he identified as TErF. And all of it is very draining and disappointing. I think all artists get to this irrelevancy point, this non-relatable point, where they're so wealthy and they are so removed from society that they forget how things really affect people on a day-to-day basis. And I think a lot of times, like for instance, when I was growing up, the Eddie Murphy um, jokes from, is it Delirious or Raw, where he made these very homophobic jokes, and they kind of stuck with culture for a long time. Bernie Mac and him downstairs, with, I'm gonna get some milk and cookies, even though there was an insinuation of, gayness or whatever. There was not really like this pronounced like idea of just making fun of somebody, saying like, you butt pirate type of like vulgar, anti-gay, homophobic, transphobic humor. It was more just insinuated as part of a culture that, you just kind of pick on the soft one. That was 30, 40 years ago, right? So now we're, in 2021, and he's already gone through the controversy. And the fact that it came up again, and the fact that he's invoking the name of of this 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 person who passed on. I mean, I think it's really opportunistic and sick in a lot of ways, and that's the first thing that came to my mind. Is just that, you know I don't really care how you feel about this person whose life you entered and were a part of their demise in some way. It's a bit selfish to me to capitalize on their memory in any way, shape, or form. It's distasteful. This wasn't your friend. This was a person you met who befriended you by defending your point. But I don't know if it would have been the same if it had been a person of color, if you hadn't been in San Francisco, if it had been a black trans, hood type, neck popping sex worker, like confrontational situation. Would you be so, enamored, be so loving and caring? And it makes me wonder if you did have opportunities to have conversations with trans people of color and you just ignored those things. I feel like you would have come across an Angelica Ross, or you know maybe even a Billy Porter, somebody who's not binary. I feel like there have been opportunities in the entertainment industry where you've probably come across someone who's trans or someone who's a trans ally, and you could have gotten that education, and instead you've sort of benched your success on a white trans individual who's now passed on. And to me, it's very pro-life energy. It's very, I mean, don't talk ill of the dead type of thing. This is a veil of piety type of thing. Like, puts you a little bit above reproach to have this like martyr in your life of trans disunity. And um, it's self-serving and ridiculous, and it's kind of sickening. I think it's also sick that people keep acting as if they know all of Dave Chappelle's politics. um, I think he's a great, social commentarian, but his comedy style is a bit of as a storyteller, and I don't think he ever actually flushed out who Dave Chappelle is. He's always been kind of like a mystery, and a lot of his comedy has kind of been whimsical and psychedelic in a lot of ways. In my mind, I see him as a person who profited off of weed humor when a lot of black men were going to jail for weed. I see him as a black man who profited off of the stories of Charlie Murphy. And, you know, Charlie Murphy's passed on. Like, what is going on with Dave Chappelle that all these people he come in contact with seem to meet their demise? I mean, I'm just saying, like, is he really this person that he like is believed to be, that he's this connected, grounding person? I feel like he's just a person who is a bit of a loner and a misanthrope, and he lives in his farm, and all I hear about is him inviting people to his farm to do mushrooms and sort of hang out with him, and um, you know, um, whatever. But like, I never saw a Charlie Murphy comedy special that he produced. I might be dead wrong, but I just don't remember Charlie Murphy being given the star treatment that he derived from the show. I don't remember really any of the people who were on the show except for Neil Brennan, right? That was his writing partner. Neil Brennan is all over the place. Uh, Everybody else is kind of like around. I don't remember Dave Chappelle being like the most pro black person. I remember him being a black person who talked about his black ass life. But like I said, I mean, there's a whole different world on social media, and I guess his reputation precedes him in a way, but I didn't see it. I've seen a person who, you know, takes the money and runs and does the things and comes and goes as he pleases. And he's been smart enough to figure that out for years. Um, I'm a similar person. I kind of do my own thing, and I stay under the radar. And that way I can take a little bit from this and a little bit from that. And in a lot of ways, it gives me a lot of privilege. But I don't use that privilege then to, I don't know, belittle other people or marginalize people or take advantage of those situations to capitalize on other people's demise. I think where his talent lies is that somewhere in between the weed humor and the social commentary, there is a intersection of relatability that um, gives us a false sense of knowing this person. And then with that, we can give him the jester treatment where there's enough hard truth and enough metaphor that we can fill in the meaning without really knowing what he's really up to. But for him to like blatantly, and for a clip to be released, because I'm not watching the special. I don't see the point in it. I mean, I'm still flying high off of the release of Montero, and you know, there's a lot of black queer representation. There's a lot of black femme representation right now that's very affirming and giving me life. And I'm looking forward to Chloe Bailey's solo career. I'm looking forward to Michaela Cole's writing career. I'm looking forward to Issa Rae and her talk show. I'm looking forward to those things. I'm sorry, these black men who are playing the smash and grab controversy game are tired to me. But so I won't be watching the special. I don't really care. But from the clip I've seen of him saying that he's TErF and that he identified with trans exclusionary feminism, it's like, girl, really? Like, what are you talking about? How do you come out as a trans exclusionary feminist when you've never really come out as a feminist? Like, where is the Dave Chappelle presents the queens of comedy? Like, what is going on? where is this? Where is the, Dave Chappelle fought for Wanda Sykes to have her own special? Like, where? I don't like. Haven't there been female comedians that passed through the world of Dave Chappelle that like deserve their own? Like, what is going on? Where is the proof that he's a feminist in the first place, let alone to be excluding trans people from it? I don't get it. And for those of you who do not know what trans exclusionary feminism is, look it up yourself. But I will just say this: it doesn't make any damn sense. Because at the very basis of it, trans rights have to be included in the equality of women, because trans people tend to have mothers. And if you have a child who's trans, and you might want to deal with those health repercussions, or you're probably a single mom dealing with those health repercussions, the mental health of your trans child, dealing with the gendering of your child at birth, you you might want to be involved a little bit more in what's going on with the rights of trans people. I'm not saying that all women are mothers, but I certainly would not say that men are mothers. Uh, that my brain hasn't stretched that far to the non-binary, um, but yeah, I mean on a very surface level conversation, if you are excluding trans people from the discussion of equality of the sexes, then you might want to start with that conversation about what women will do with their trans children. But even on another level, on another surface level, there's 20 people in a workplace, and maybe two of them are women, and maybe like one of them is trans, or there's 20 people in the workplace and there's two of them that are women and one of the men is a trans man, and you just busting in picking on that one person. Like, what the fuck is the point of that? Like, I don't understand how you don't feel a alarm go off in your head as a person who claims to be about equality and justice, or any equity and justice, and you're picking on the least of us. And again, just like with the other conservative debates, it only affects poor people because wealthy trans people and, you know, wealthy people who are dealing with their trans children, they're solving those issues on their own without having to, you know, deal with the onslaught of public scrutiny. So you get your ass up on a platform where you're making millions of dollars, and that's who you pick on. That's the issue. Where we got a whole ass pandemic going on. That's the health issue. You like what? I'm sure there's more that you're talking about, but you knew this was going to be the thing that got your special the attention that it needed. And it's disappointing because you don't need any more attention. You've had a several decades long career running your busted ass mouth looking like crap on multimedia productions. You have enough cosigners that make you think that you are intelligent, and the rest of the world is saying to you, this is not smart. You're not that smart. And because we don't take you seriously, we'll allow it. And that's your way out. How the fuck is that good for us? How is that good for Black people in entertainment and social commentary? How is it good for Black men in those spaces that at the height of this capitalistic scheme where you're basically, I mean, that's the gig right there. Like you're not, you don't need musicians, you don't need lights, you don't need big stadiums. You get to make as much money off of taping a special in a dark basement as a person who sells out an arena, and you take all of that clout and all that money and you direct a tenth of that energy to 0.05% of the population. That is demonic. That is demonic. That is ridiculous. And to invoke the baby. Okay, can we just finally, for the record, say there are plenty of rap people out there. Is a whole rap economy, right? So you took your ass and decided to go into pop music and get into the space where, you know, things are a little bit more, you know, open and liberal. You're the one who walked into that arena, right? So those corporate interests, like in the song, he in his verse on jail on Donda, he says, you know that money you took off my plate goes to feed my daughters, right? You should have thought of that, right? Like, how did you not think of that? Because the money I gave you came off my daughter's plate, right? Right. So what? How much clout and money do y'all need to understand that, like, it comes with some responsibilities? Like, there's people who make $16 an hour who have to bite their tongues all day. Y'all up here making millions of dollars, and y'all want us to be like, oh no, let them be, they're artists. Like, there's a nigga rapping on the corner right now who knows to mind his tongue. He knows that he might have controversial opinions. He knows that he might not have, that he might be living on a lonely island on a bunch of things. He might believe in Planet Xenu. He might believe that, there is a alien culture that runs the planet and we're all their slaves. He's still now to bury that in his art so that he can get where he needs to go. Like, I don't understand. We can have like 6 Scientologists, like, who are like multi-platinum selling artists and multi-billion-dollar blockbuster movie superstars, and y'all black asses can't like get through a damn 1 hour special, a 30-minute concert without like triggering backlash from a community that clearly, GLAAD is an organization. Like there is a Jewish community has an Anti-Defamation League. There's GLAAD. There's the NAACP. Each thing has a wing that is a watchdog for the media. I don't understand what else you need to understand about that. Like, it's not like the whole community. Of course not. But there are organizations that watch these things looking for slip ups like this, and you're just feeding them, and then you're mad at them for noticing. We all know that that's not going to erase your careers or anything like that, and we know you don't care because you got the money already. So nigga, just say you don't care. And how about you just don't care and then talk about the things you do care about? Like, that would be so much funnier. I just do not believe you care that much about your trans friend who passed away, because if that was the case, then where's Daphne's comedy special? There's a bunch of trans rappers out there. I don't know. I mean, where's the baby? You going to present one of them? Lil Nas X been around for a long time. Like, what y'all let, Frank Ocean just got away. He was just making this. I mean, like, y'all just. The denial of it all and the ridiculousness of it all, and just like the throwing the rock and hiding the hands, like, it's so immature. Y'all panties are showing. Like, grow the fuck up. Find something to talk about. Be brave enough to talk about something else. Like, Dave Chappelle is the closer. Like, that's fine. Like, bye. You did it. You did the thing. You had your years. You did your things. But I'm not buying that you're a feminist, let alone a TErF, trans exclusionary or not. Not the man who called Candace Owens pussy stank. That's not feminism. Like, if you don't want us to take you seriously, then fine. You got your answer. You're a joke. Take your money and go home. We gave you enough.